played a lot of minutes over the last couple of games. Just where did the energy come from just to get this one done and win the way you guys did?
Yeah, I just said, the harder we go, right before tip off, we huddled up. I just said the harder we go, the less likely we have to play overtime tonight. So, I'm just happy we were able to come together as a team, and I have to go to overtime.
You guys had 30-second chance points in this one. Just what did you see in terms of the effort on the glass and the different guys that got involved in that?
Yeah, I think we did a great job of just making effort plays tonight, having a second effort. You can't always rely on the first shot going in, but you can rely on, playing hard on both sides, and that was big for us.
Sure. I think it was a career high and tied a career high with threes in the game. But when you get that hot, did you notice at that point that, okay, I guess by the second and third one, that, okay, yeah, I'm feeling it, or was it just you were in the rhythm of the game?
When you see it go, when you see the ball go in a couple of times, you definitely play a lot more loose, and you're definitely looking for the next opportunity to shoot. But I'm not a big believer in heat checks in terms of taking a bad shot just because we've hit a couple. So, I was still just kind of seeking out the right play, looking for good shots, and throughout the game, I felt like I did a good job of trusting that. And after the first couple went in, I was able to find some more goals.
And then how does it feel not to be playing a double overtime game?
Man, it's great. We can get to the next city, and I can get in bed earlier, so it's great.
Mark mentioned that without speaking for you too much, that you felt like maybe you weren't too happy with your offensive performance against Indiana. Is that fair to say? And just how much was that kind of a point of emphasis for you to get going early tonight?
I think the point of emphasis was more so just correcting the mistakes that I made in the last game. Whether the shots went in or not, I wanted to make the right plays, and I felt like for the most part I did that tonight. I continue to be better. I continue to try and find more. Got to be consistent, not only with making shots, but with being aggressive and making the right plays. I gotta do a better job of not letting that sway the game, and I'm gonna keep working on that.
You briefly left the game with what looked like a hand injury. You kind of just walk through that play and how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, we all know what happened. I got dunked on and dislocated my thumb at the same time, so left foot was not thinking. But I didn't look too bad. Like, obviously my thumb wasn't where it was supposed to be. I see my thumb every day. It didn't look like it normally does, but it also didn't look like completely done for. So I tried to tell him to just pop it back into place during the timeout because I was scared. I didn't know what to do. But they said I had to go to X-rays for some reason, so that's why I went to the back. Otherwise, I want to learn into the back. So, but yeah, did check for a shot. So.
Chet, with Jalen Williams out here, obviously the number 2 scoring option. How has that transition been for you, taking on a bigger part of the world of the offense?
I don't think this team looks at scoring options or, it's. I think we look at it more as, throughout the game, we'll look for advantages. We'll look for advantages for each other. Last game was AJ's game. Tonight I have one looks. Next game it's gonna be somebody. It doesn't matter. We don't look at it that way. We look at who has an advantage, who has the ability to make a play, and opportunity to make a play, and then we look for him in that moment. So, I think that's where they should.
Of course, part of your season last year was derailed due to injuries and such. Still early start to the season so far, but how are you feeling overall? And do you feel like you still have to put the league on notice to a degree to let them know just how diverse of a player you are?
Doing things for the purpose of other people's opinions is breeding. I just try to chase the player that I can become or want to become. So, that's kind of my mindset. And I know I've sold much more to do, so much better to get, and I'm just trying to chase that. And I'm just happy to be playing. You know, it's a long season. Nobody feels 100% for the whole season, so I know there's gonna be bumps and bruises, but if I go out there and play, I'm gonna do it every single night. So, those injuries kind of made me never take a game for granted, so I'm never gonna be that. But I'm excited to keep this thing rolling. We played till late last season, late into the summer, had short off season, but I've been juiced and ready to roll for a long time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Shit, you had played 92 minutes over the last 2 games, and obviously your teammates been putting in a lot of minutes too. It just seemed like you all had the energy, you got the loose balls. What went into that, either in terms of mental preparation or just what you saw out there?
Yeah, I think compartmentalizing, like understanding that every night's gonna be different. So it's the gauntlet of the NBA season. You never know what to expect. I think in the summertime you try to prepare for the worst, and in terms of load wise, and I think we've done a great job of being ready for the start of the season. And we've had some pop for these first 3 games, despite having a few double overtime games.
Mark, it's really standing out right now, just the way that you're manipulating the game as a playmaker to score, but also to pass and just get the exact shot that you want as a team. But what went into that in terms of your work this summer or in the lead up to training camp?
Yeah, just understanding where I need to grow as a player, where my teammates can grow as players, and how we need to grow as a team, and then try to implement that as much as possible. And try to not let any opportunity go to waste, and try to use them to get better for myself and my teammates. And then as you play and as you the longer I'm in the league, I understand more, not only about myself but the game and the nuances and the offenses that are being run that work and the defenses that work and the schemes that work. So it's just continuing to evolve mentally as a basketball player as well.
Go ahead.
Shai, it seemed like after halftime, the third quarter, your game really started to pick up. Seemed like in the first half, you were going more finding and facilitating with your teammates, but 17 in the third quarter. What changed out there in the third quarter? Did you see something different from the Hawks defensively, or did you just decide to be more aggressive?
Yeah, I just play basketball out there. I think in the first half, they did a really good job of bottling up the actions that I was in. They were blitzing, they were tight, they were on it. They also were playing fast in transition and scoring a lot, so it's harder to get looser. Because they score and now we take the ball out the net. Then they set their defense and now they can get into their coverage and whatnot. And in the third quarter, we strung a lot of stops together, and I was able to just play in the free flow of the game, which helped me get a little looser. And then the pick and rolls are later now. It's just the ripple effect of us getting stops as a team, I think. So yeah, no matter what's going on, I go out there and try to make the right basketball play. But getting stops and playing faster definitely helps my flow and the rest of the team's flow.
Say, you finally hit a game where it doesn't come down to the end. Knowing that the league is always competitive.
Yeah.
But now that you're champs, have you noticed that teams are coming, to play in the, coming hard to play, I guess I should say. And if so, have you all talked about that or to the teammates before the season or during the season?
Not really. It is naturally expected for teams to play a little bit harder and get up a little bit more excited to play defending champs. But one of the things that we focus on to start the season was just making sure that we don't take the regular season for granted. We don't take no matter the game, no matter the night for granted, and use it as an opportunity to get better as a group. And I think if we do that, it'll take care of business no matter who we play against. So that's kind of how we go about it.
Chet came into this one, obviously banged up, and then he had the hand thing, but still finishes with 31 points. I mean, can you kind of speak to his competitiveness and you see how good it turns it out on a daily basis?
Yeah, he just does whatever it takes to win. Now he's getting more comfortable. He last year he started the season like this last season. He just got hurt. But he has his legs back underneath him. He is stronger, faster, more explosive. He's just getting more comfortable. And a guy with his natural feel, as the games go on, it'll continue to grow. He'll continue to grow. He'll be better. So yeah, we just got to continue to ignite him as teammates, make sure that we're putting him in positions to be successful, as he does for us on the other end and in offense day as well.
There's obviously momentum swings with every game, shots, stops, and stuff like that. But when you see a guy laying it all out there like that, how much does that also kind of provide a boost to everybody else?
Yeah, we have a team full of fighters, warriors, and guys that just love the game at the end of the day. And that tone is set every time we walk in the gym, whether it's off day, a playoff game, a regular season game. Like, we come in with joy, and we come in to compete every night. So yeah, that's just a tone set across the locker room.
Shai, you mentioned in that third quarter getting stops. You guys were able to score out 16 points, I believe, under that big turnovers and callouts. What were you guys able to do on defense there to get the ball out of their hands and score in transition?
Yeah, we just we buckled down in like our game plan, I would say. We were more focused, more like decisive defensively. We tried to make them play on our terms, tried to make them play outside their comfort zone. We obviously were high on the ball screen with Trey, and then tried to make them move the ball, multiple actions. And then from there, we try to win closeouts, get our hands on the balls, be aggressive defensively, and see where it takes us. And it worked well for us in the third quarter.
Shai, it seemed like a couple of times you got matched up with your cousin. I know you've spoken on playing against him a couple of times, but does it seem like you kind of have an advantage against him, like because you guys have played against each other for so long? Is it like an easier matchup? Like, I know I can take him because I've been doing this since I was 10 years old type of thing?
Nah. I look at him the same way I look at every other defender. I feel like I can take them, but it's like, it's not. Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. Everyone gets that treatment. I'm aggressive out there. I don't see relationships when I'm on the basketball court. I'm going out there to win. I'm going out there to compete. Love him, give him a hug after the game, all the good stuff. But when we're on the floor, we're competing, and I know it's vice versa for him.
Shai, some of the other great scorers in the league, like say Kevin Durant, he's been effective because he's tall, he can rise up and shoot over defenders. You don't have that luxury. You create space in a different way. When did you realize that in order for you to be able to score, you were going to have to find a different way and use, the way you can create space, pumping the fattest way, and then hitting those little mid-ranges, and also stepping back, hitting the further ones?
Honestly, I watch a lot. Like, I just watched a lot of the great players before. See how they get open. Guys of my frame and stature, Kobe Bryant, for example. But like, essentially, I just like figured it out my time in the NBA, and I've had the luxury. When we were going through those years where we weren't the greatest team in the league, I got to play through mistakes and just really figure out my game and figure out what it was gonna look like for when we were really good. And I used that time correctly and figured it out, and now it works for me.
And there was a big event in Toronto last night. I'm sure you saw it. It's
Good.
not going too well tonight. I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it yet.
And they're probably going to be 1-1 going to Los Angeles. But
Nah, we're coming back. Don't worry.
just quickly on that, what do you think of the Blue Jays just being in the World Series and what that would mean for the Toronto if they were able to pull it off?
Yeah, it's huge. It's big. Just going to the finals myself, I know how hard it is. So yeah, making it to the World Series is impressive. I'm pretty sure they want more than just going to the World Series. They want to win. They got the first game, 3 more to go, I think. So yeah, they're on the right track. But it's exciting for the city for sure.
We have 2 more. Shai, of course, you're the face of Converse basketball, and we've seen you do great things with them last season and seen so far this season. You've already debuted the banner PEs. Do you have a favorite PE and what you've worn so far, and what do you have cooking up with Converse as far as this season is concerned?
My favorite shoes are probably the ones I wore tonight, the clay ones. Those are my favorite ones, probably. But yeah, we have a lot of exciting things coming. A few more drops before the new year, so more shoes coming. But that's all I'm gonna say from now. I'm gonna keep the secrets to myself. But yeah, we have a few more shoes dropping before the new year.
Your last one here.
And to piggyback off of his question, is there any talk in the locker room of the commercials that Anthony Edwards is doing, talking crazy to you? Is there any chatter?
Good question.
Anything you want to say?
Great question. I mean, like, it's the business of marketing. You talk about things that are hot and gonna get clicks to get clicks yourself. So I completely understand it. It's all fun and games though. Nothing doesn't impact my sales if you guys can't tell. Sorry. Yeah. All right, guys.
Questions for Coach?
Mark, it seemed like every loose ball, every hustle play, the second chance points, everything seemed to kind of fall into your hands tonight. How much do you make the team's energy coming off the 2 games that you had and being banged up the way you were, and how that unfolded tonight?
Yeah, I thought we drummed it up, pretty good. First half a little loose with transition, game plan with Young. He got loose, especially in the second quarter. And then I thought the guys did a great job of adjusting at halftime. And the energy throughout the night, to your point, was good. So good overall win, got contributions up and down. And it was impressive, we're on a road trip coming off those games. And I thought our energy tonight was really good, encouraging.
Held them, I think, to about 40% shooting on 2-point shots tonight. What did you see as the difference or the factor there in terms of just your connectedness or whatever made that happen?
Yeah, and I don't really know, other than I thought the bigs were particularly impactful around the basket. I thought all game they were really good. We got great minutes from Jay Will, and then Chet and Hart played a lot of minutes together tonight, and were really, really good in their minutes. So I thought, like I said, once we could settle into the half court against them, we got some good stuff into the game.
Just want to ask you, go ahead. Like, what's gotten into AJ? Like, what's the biggest difference between him now versus where he was 6-8 months ago, whatever?
I think the biggest difference is just a combination of strength. He had a really, really good summer. And then I think the game slowed down a little bit for him, but he was doing this, maybe not to this degree, but he was doing this very early last year. He was playing in our opener last season as a rookie on a deep team. And that's because he kind of banged the door down right from the beginning. And so he's certainly gotten better since that point, but has been a pretty high impact guy all along, and somebody that we've believed in all along. And he's obviously played great so far.
Strength, you just mean like physical weight?
Yeah, I think he didn't gain a lot of weight, but he transferred a lot of muscle. So, I mean, he's a lot stronger, even visibly. If you look at him visually, he looks a lot different.
Mark, honestly, I don't know what else you can say about Shai. You've seen him on these kind of roles before. Is there anything that distinguishes this one other than the fact that this is the start of the season?
No, I mean, he's kind of in character right now. I will say, all the guys, but, certainly him, they do such a good job in the off season, and they ramp up so well that they come out of the gates, ready to go. Holmgren's like that too. Really the whole team. But it's a credit to the work that he does. He doesn't like ease his way into the season. He's ready to go, on night one, and for all 82. So, but in terms of his play, he looks about the same. In fact, the only thing that's really showing up, I think, a little differently is he's really starting to manipulate the game as a playmaker. Obviously, the scoring's been loud, but some of the passes he's made and the reads he's made against the different coverages he's seen in these first few games have been really good.
You mentioned Chet before the game was driving competitiveness. Obviously, he was dealing with that back injury heading into this one. He had that hand injury, but still ended up finishing with strong performances. What did you see out of him in terms of his gunsliness tonight?
Yeah, he's always got that. He's always ready to go. Great competitor. He was disappointed. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he was disappointed in how he played offensively against Indiana. And he came out tonight teeing up those shots and saw a couple go in and had a great game flow tonight. Whereas the other night, I thought he pump faked a couple he could have shot, and didn't seem like he had the rhythm that he had tonight. So guys did a good job of finding him, but he was really, really good.
There was a play in that third quarter where Dyson was trailing and would have had an easy dunk, but Kaysen hustles back on defense, gets that steal. Just plays like that, it seems like he does on a common, or very often. Just can you kind of speak to his ability to impact the game by getting into those passing lanes and, his aggressiveness there?
Yeah, I mean, he's just got unbelievable hands, and athleticism and toughness. And a combination of things, but his hands are elite with some of the stuff he does on ball. And then he's just got one of those guys that he seems to be a dude when he's near the ball, he comes up with it. There was one, I think it was almost a turnover actually. He drove it, he got into some trouble, and the ball was kind of loose, and he comes up with that. He's the guy at the bottom of a pile that's going to get the fumble, and come up with the football.
I know it's only game 3, but finally get a game where you don't have to go to the end. But have you talked to the team pre-season about as far as getting the team's best now that they're the world champs?
No. We embrace the competitive challenges, and we want the best out of our opponents. That's how you get better. And these first couple games have really tested us in a healthy way. We've seen a lot of different things, despite it's only been 3 games, and we've been in a lot of situations because of the overtimes and the clutch games. And we've handled them pretty well, for early in the season, but certainly stuff we can learn from as well. So we want to get better, and when you want to get better, the way to do that is to get tested. And they tested us in the first half tonight. Young made us better tonight, because every time we were an 8 out of 10 in a coverage, he burned us.
And kind of piggybacking off of his question right there, even though it is early in the season, if it has at all, how has your message changed to the guys this year? As you mentioned, being the defending champs now, I'm quite sure the goal is to repeat. So how has your message changed to the players?
The circumstances have changed, and the challenges always change. Those things are ever changing, and our messages don't. Our messages are the same all the time. They've been the same from day one. They're principles that we really believe in that can apply to all situations, and the situations are always changing. So they'll change throughout the season. We're starting off with overtime games and injuries, and yet our messaging's the same. So that creates familiarity, confidence. We think there's a lot of benefits to just relying on what we've relied on so far. But obviously, circumstances are always changing, and we'll adapt as necessary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.